Pokemon has changed forever. With the Switch 2's better performance and Legend ZA on the horizon, I truly believe we're on the cusp of a new golden age of Pokemon. So, in order to commemorate the occasion, I decided to do a shiny only badge quest in Pokemon Violet. Oh my Lanta. Oh my god! Oh, we did it! What is going on? Oh my god! Yes! Yeah. Now with sparkly new graphics and, more importantly, no lag. And this adventure was honestly some of the most fun I've had playing through Generation 9. And we all know how the story goes. Blah blah blah, we go to school, something something, now I can ride on my magic horse. Yippee. Obviously what all of you and myself are here for are the shinies. So I went to the first outbreak I could find to try my luck at getting my first Switch 2 shiny. And I didn't have to wait that long. The literal goat showed up before me before I was even able to KO 60.
Oh my gosh, that was fast. Let's go. Shiny Skidoo. My first Switch 2 shiny. It's a good one.
That's those Switch 2 spawns in action for you. If you don't know, playing Scarlet and Violet on Switch 1, there's a maximum of 15 Pokemon spawns at a time. If there were ever more than 15 on your screen, that means there's a shiny. On Switch 2, there's like 100 Pokemon on the screen at a time. A blessing and a curse. You'll see why later. But for now, it was time to capture this cute little goat.
Let's go. Oh my god, that was so smooth. Hold on, one more time. Oh my goodness, is that smooth. That was so smooth. Let's go, baby. It's so free.
We're so back. We are so back. And one other thing, I've been trying to get into the habit of nicknaming my Pokemon more recently. It's something I've always neglected in the past, but I'd like to change that. So every shiny I find during this playthrough will get a silly little nickname. So what did I name this Skiddo? Well, obviously I named the goat after a goat. Kyrie. Kyrie. I can't even say that with a straight face. With our first shiny, we can go get our first badge.
Big crab. Crabs. Plankton.
Which, believe it or not, with our first shiny being a grass type, the Titan Cloth was very easy. And obviously, we're not here for the story. It's all about the shinies. So it was right back to hunting. Now with the ability to move faster than a Wo-Chien. I made my way to an outbreak that was right around the corner. Murkrow and Honchkrow are some really fun burbs that I enjoy with their silly little hats. It was also during this second hunt that I discovered some issues of shiny hunting on the new console. You see, now when you run away from overworld spawns, they just don't despawn.
Oh my god, hold on. They don't even despawn. They go out of range? I can't see them anymore. They didn't despawn though. What? That's crazy. At what point did they despawn? Okay, some of them. That's absurd.
Like I said before, it's a blessing and a curse. It's really nice because if a shiny were to spawn really far away from you, the chance that it vanishes into thin air like they did on the Switch 1 won't happen. But it also means you have to drive so far away in order to get new spawns. It's not something that's a huge deal, especially with like a million Pokemon on the screen at a time, but definitely something that takes some getting used to. And it's 1000% worth any problems it causes my muscle memory, because these games are just so smooth on the Switch 2. Now, I did have some worse luck with this hunt as opposed to the last one, but with the reduced outbreak odds, the silly burb made its appearance in just about 2 hours of searching.
Oh my god. Let's go. Yeah. Oh, it's so smooth. Oh, I'm obsessed. I'm so obsessed with how smooth everything feels. Oh, my pink, purple, magenta, fancy hat crow.
And then I accidentally killed it.
No.
Which brings me to another little issue I have with shiny hunting on the Switch 2. I guess there's just so many Pokemon the game has to spawn in when you load in, that sometimes the shiny right in front of you just doesn't.
Hello? Where's my Murkrow?
Now, to be fair, this is something that also happened on the original Switch. So maybe it's just a problem with the way Scarlet and Violet spawn Pokemon. Probably that. But after another reset, the Magenta Burb came back.
There you are. Oh my god, you almost gave me a heart attack, Murkrow. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I'm so good at the video game.
I've recently been back in my anime grind set, and since this is a crow, the only fitting name I could think of was Itachi.
I'm gonna go bold.
Oh! With my second team member, I went straight to Katie's big bean rolling, then took her on. Birds eat bugs, so Terra Flying Itachi kinda just rolled the floor with her team, the same way I rolled that bean. and my next hunt took place in the exact same location as our latest badge. I really wanted to test out the full potential of the Switch 2's ability to spawn Pokemon using the old reliable town method. If you don't know, when you leave a town, Pokemon spawn, and when you go back, they despawn. And since the Switch 2 can load lots of Pokemon, you can see a whole bunch of Pokemon per hour, like at least 3. Anyways, I ran back to Mesagoza to eat some cloth soup, which gave me encounter power for electric types. Then started the town method to look for one of my favorite Gen 2 Pokemon. This was also my first full odds hunt on the Switch 2. So even though I can see tons of Pokemon at once, having the odds of finding a shiny be 1 in 4092, I need to strap myself in for potentially a very long hunt. Yeah! 1 electric encounter, level 1 sandwich, 1 minute to spare, full odds, shiny Mareep. You ever wonder how clothing from Mareep's wool might feel? Well, if I had to guess, it would be similar to the clothing by this video sponsor, which I can't believe I'm saying, Fabletics. Fabletics is a premier clothing brand with some absolutely top-of-the-line products that I've been a fan of for years. Not only do you have cozy, casual wear for everyday life, but also some comfortable, lightweight clothes for working out. As you may know, I've been getting into running and going to the gym more recently, and their quality, breathable fitwear has made it fantastic for any time I break a sweat. What's really cool about Fabletics though is that they hook up their customers by offering them a VIP program. If you sign up for the VIP membership, you can get anywhere from 70 to 80% off your first order. On top of that amazing deal, you'll get 50% off retail prices for every item, exclusive sales, and unlock 1 credit valid to redeem a 2-piece outfit, bundle, or any single item up to $100. All this for $59.95 a month. So if you're someone who buys clothing pretty frequently, you'll be saving a ton of money by signing up for VIP. Plus, they're extremely flexible too. If you become a VIP and don't feel like spending the monthly payment, you can skip between the 1st and 5th of the month and still be able to shop the VIP prices up to 50% off. If any of these amazing deals sound too good to be true, click the link in the top of the description or the pinned comment to get yourself signed up, because it's real. And their premium clothing flies off the shelves, so you're gonna want to do it sooner rather than later. Thank you again to Fabletics for sponsoring. And just like that, the prowess of the Switch 2 is revealed. Nah, I'm just kidding. I just got really lucky. But with our third member of the squad, Barney, the adventure can continue. And keeping in theme of taking on badges weak to the shiny I just caught, I made my way to the second Titan, Bombardier. Started the battle by terrestrializing my new shiny Mareep, and it was immediately deleted.
God damn it, Barney.
I guess I didn't realize just how low leveled my team was, because I proceeded to get wiped off the face of the earth by a bird that has whatever this thing is.
We're gonna pretend like that didn't just happen.
So I went back and grinded for a bit, hoping to maybe find another shiny, which I didn't, and then went back for my revenge, where I employed the exact same strategy. But now, not being level 10, it worked. Barney then lost every ounce of aura she had by evolving into a much worse shiny in Flaffy. Which, all things considered, I don't actually think it's a bad shiny, but this one is just so much better. After gaining the ability to surf on water, my next hunt became increasingly obvious. All across the lands of Generation 9, you can find these sparkly guys known as Terra Pokemon. And believe it or not, you can actually shiny hunt these. And with the newfound power of the Switch 2, finding one has to be so much more enjoyable than resetting in the past. But which Terra to go for? Well, Breloom, of course. Why, you ask? Breloom. I mean, that didn't really answer the question. Breloom. Now, what I didn't anticipate, once again, was that my Pokemon suck. Like, not even close to being enough for the might that is Terra Rock Breloom.
Live. Oh. Oh no. I can't even... You know, maybe this isn't my next target because I can't even kill it. I can't even set up the hunt. I think I need to run away. Uh-oh. We're going to pretend like that didn't just happen, and we're going to try again. Okay, you used Rock Tomb, but I live. God damn it! Breloom, you're a real piece of work. No, now you use Bullet Seed? Are you kidding me? I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. Stop. 3. 3's all you do. 3's all you do! Oh my god, hit twice. Hit twice. Twice. Oh, yes. You. My fingers. Oh my god, you use Spore. Miss. Miss. Live. God damn it. 4th time is the charm. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times, shame on me again. But fool me 4 times, I won't get fooled again. Nice use of Spore, idiot. Dude, oh my god. Kyrie, you gotta not miss. You know, I'm thinking about this, and I'm struggling just to kill this Breloom, which, you know, you would think that that would probably definitely mean that I shouldn't shiny hunt this thing, because if I find it, what are the chances that I fail it? Probably pretty high. But can I, maybe I could save. I think we'll be fine. I also just didn't know how to properly set up this shiny hunt, and rather than look it up like a normal person would, I left. But only because one of my favorite little guys just so happened to be rolling onto the scene. Get it? Because it's a tumble. Anyways, I absolutely adore Bramblin. I don't know why, but as I get older, I seem to just enjoy the silly little guy Pokemon much more than the cool, edgy Pokemon. Turns out though, the love you have for a Pokemon doesn't necessarily mean it's reciprocated. Anytime I've ever tried hunting Bramblin, it always seems to go horribly wrong. Obviously, I knocked out the 60 needed for increased shiny odds, but it really didn't help my luck. The first hour went by and I had nothing to show for it. Then the second hour, and the third. I know shiny hunting is basically the definition of insanity, but something about this mines area in Scarlet and Violet really pushes me to the brink of despair. Maybe it's just because I've experienced this exact same thing, hunting this exact same hunting this exact same Pokemon in this area a dozen times before, but I do not yearn for these mines. Also, returning back to what I was saying earlier about Pokemon refusing to despawn on the Switch 2, well, that came into full effect with this outbreak. I don't know if it's just because of the location, or because I have no encounter boosts available to me, but there's just so many other Pokemon showing up, and it's really rough getting the Bramblin to cooperate. Honestly, I think it could probably be boiled down to the fact that I have, like, no upgrades on my Miraidon. Finally though, in my 4th hour of hunting, something happened. Okay. That is definitely, not the Pokemon that I've been looking for. Hello, full odds Qfint. Oh my lord, are we joking? Are we joking? It just wasn't Bramblin. This was something I was really worried about happening. All this time spent looking for a reduced odds Bramblin, only to find a full odds Qfant. This isn't a dream team quest, so I caught it, and for my own well-being, decided to move on with my life. Also, I named it Steve.
I am Steve.
I don't know. With Steve by my side, I went over to the next gym. Check out the windmill that doesn't move at 5 frames a second anymore. Now, what's super epic about this gym challenge is that the Sunfloras also no longer move at 5 frames per second. Really great stuff from the Pokemon team here. Oh my god, look, they move normally. They move normal. Look at them. Since I haven't been doing these badges in the proper order, and after all the trials and stipulations we've gone through, my Pokemon were actually a bit too overleveled for this one. My bad, Brasius. So after a 10-minute detour, I was already back to looking for Bramblin, only to feel a pit in my stomach telling me that I was just better off moving on. So I only spent another 5 minutes looking for my little tumbleweed before trying something different. One of the perks of replaying this game on Switch 2 a few years after its release is that I have all the DLC at my disposal. So after some yapping and a quick flight, I found myself in Kitakami, which is home to some of my favorites and some incredible shinies. I did first have to go through some of the story beats, like beating the boots off of poor little Kieran, and by doing so, I made my way to the location of my next hunt, only to be rudely interrupted. What? What? I was gonna look for you later. I was here for something else, Porygon 2. Something I haven't mentioned is the Porygon 2 outbreaks that have been going on in my game since I started.
These were event outbreaks that were happening during the Switch 2's launch. Believe it or not, I did most of this playthrough when I first got my Switch 2 back in early June. It's not June anymore. This video clearly has taken some time. I wasn't too upset about this though, because I had already been planning on hunting one of these Porygon 2s at some point. And with the incredibly low odds that these event outbreaks have, if Porygon 2 is so great, why is there no Porygon 3? Am I right or am I right? This was kind of just bound to happen at some point. Surely it won't be a common occurrence though. Haha. Gotcha, sucker. But with my newest team member, Ducky Momo, it was time to head back to Paldea and take on another gym. This time, the electric gym. But first, Nemona wanted some of this smoke. So I hit her with some of that bing bang bop wombo combo, and then took on the gym leader, who definitely didn't give me and my elite team of shiny Pokemon any troubles whatsoever. I am a professional, and I would never lose a battle. This is a children's game. Oh hey look, Kyrie's evolving. Now with our 5th badge, I went back over to Kitakami, not before eating some delicious Mapu tofu. The mountains of Kitakami are home to 2 fire types with incredible shinies, one of which evolves into one of my top 10 favorite Pokemon / shinies of all time, and the other is Slugma. Which do you think I found? Oh, wait a second. In all seriousness, I was more than happy to find either one of these shinies. And what's even better than that, this was a full odds hunt, and it took less than 15 minutes, a fraction of the time I spent attempting to find Bramblin, which supposedly had much better chances of appearing. With Gary, on my team, it was time to get some more bike upgrades. So I tried burning up this big Alaskan bullworm to little avail. No, Gary! But scrapped my way through and got the big jump ability. That's the official name. So maybe that'll make future hunts a little less tedious. Speaking of tedious things, it was time to get some revenge on an old tumbly boy. But before doing that, I made my way back to school to go on another little field trip. Even though Scarlet and Violet's second DLC, the Indigo Disc, isn't supposed to be gone to until after the main story and DLC 1 is completed, you can actually head over to the Blueberry Academy pretty early on into your adventures in Generation 9. Now, you may be wondering why someone would bother doing something like that when the first thing you're greeted to is a double battle against Lacey and her level 70 rats. Well, there's 2 good reasons, at least for my sake. First is once you finish getting your face stomped in, you have access to purchasing better Pokeballs that aren't usually available this early. And second is because if you manage to complete the next section of the DLC that requires you to catch your own over-leveled Alolan Pokemon, you gain the ability to eat some lunch. And this lunch has some special properties. The thing we're after specifically is Sparkling Power 1. The only way for me to get Sparkling Power, because I don't have access to making my own sparkling sandwiches at this point in my journey. Thanks to this very tasty and nutritious lunch, we can attempt to hunt for our Bramblin, now with even better odds than before. And believe it or not, I didn't spend another 4 hours trying to find a shiny. Yes! Yes, you're real! You're real! Yes! Let's go! Shiny Bramblin! Finally! Yes! I'm free from this outbreak. Our tumbleweed friend, Cassidy. Unfortunately, we've reached the point in our adventures that we have over a full team worth of shiny Pokemon. So it's with a heavy heart that I must sacrifice one of our beloved shinies to the eternal hellscape that is the PC boxes. The decision was actually much easier to make than you would think though. I moved Ducky Momo to the box since it was the only one of my shinies I wasn't actually trying to find, and it also had the best odds of all of them, so it's a little less special. And with my new elite shiny squad, I went to take on everyone's favorite unibrowed man. Once again going after the badge with a weakness to the shiny I just found. And once again, the brand new shiny really didn't do much and had to be carried by the rest of our team. Luckily for Cassidy, I have 2 other Pokemon that handle Kofu with ease. Having regained some confidence in my shiny hunting ability after finding Bramblin, I set my sights on a hunt that I had already started a bit earlier. Now that my team was comfortably in the same level range, I could take down Breloom and properly set up the static Terra Hunt, which I took the time to learn how to do. It's actually very simple. You just encounter the target, knock it out, and save and close the game. Then advance your clock 2 days. This is very important for some reason. Then reload, and it'll be there. Then you can reset until you find your shiny, or go clinically insane. Hello?
What's happening? This was my first time doing a Terra Spawn shiny hunt. There's no way to reduce the shiny odds for a hunt like this, though. Breloom. Breloom. Breloom, are you okay? So every time you relaunch your game, it's full odds of 1 in 4096 of that extra sparkly shiny showing up. Unlike the few other full odds hunts I've already taken on during this playthrough though, there's only a single Breloom that can be shiny. So even though I've done some 1 in 4096 hunts that went by pretty quickly, can't really expect the same thing to happen here. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh, that didn't even take that long! Oh! You got games on your phone? Oh, shoot. Switch 2 loading times come in clutch. Oh my god. I can't believe I found it so fast. Oh. Holy crap. Now we are gaming. Okay, let's catch it. Perfect. Seed bomb. Goodbye, crown. I can't believe it. Holy crap. That was only like 3 hours. I wasn't counting resets, but doing some quick maths. It was somewhere in like the 200 to 300 range, I think, which is ridiculous because this is a full odd shiny. Holy crap. I think the regular Pokeball goes incredibly hard. 1, 2, 3. Yes, baby. Oh, we are cooking. Ellie, the shiny, Breloom, Terra Rock. Hell yeah, bold. Gentle, gentle. For my efforts, Barney reached her final form. Oh, and Barney's evolving? What can I do? Let's go, Barney! And with Ellie now part of the team, it was time to take on some of the early game badges that I probably should have done sooner and am now very over-leveled for. Oops. Stab, Mach Punch, go brrr. Thus, it was immediately time for some more shiny hunting. But for the first time since the very beginning, I didn't have a clear target that I wanted to look for. All I knew is that I wanted something with an amazing shiny. So I began traversing the lands, going to the furthest corners of Paldea, checking every outbreak that made its appearance known to me, even the ones that weren't real. And when I didn't find anything, I did the same with Kitakami, and then at the Blueberry Academy. Still not satisfied with what was showing up, I started the process all over again until I eventually ran into something that piqued my interest. Ah, yes. The swirl. It's mesmerizing. Now there really isn't a great spot to hunt Poliwag or Poliwhirl, so I did a cheeky little date skip, or 2, or 10, and happened upon the Promised Land. But when I went to claim my reward, it was truly in one of the most unfortunate possible spots. Could not be in a worse spot, unless it's in the water. If it's in the water, we have a chance. I don't know if it's gonna be in the water. I can't climb yet. I can't climb. If this were any other playthrough, I would simply just climb my way up. But with my current badges, I don't have that luxury. So I had to get a bit crafty. I started doing parkour up all these hills like I was playing Mirror's Edge. And let me tell you, it was not an easy task. I kid you not, I tried getting on top of this cliff for a good 30 minutes, and it remained just out of my reach. No matter what angle I tackled this problem from, I just could not get up to the outbreak that I had finally committed to. There's no way that this rock is too steep to stand on. I refuse to believe that. Oh, it's just out of reach. Oh! Oh, come on. Come on! Riolu, I need you to f off. You're gonna bounce me off the f***ing mountain. You piece of shit! So, after so much time wasted, I decided to give up. And back to the drawing board we went. It might be possible, but like I've already been trying this for like at least 30 minutes and it's not going well. That is until I just opened up my map and saw that I must have been in range for the fast travel sign. Are you shit? I got the TP. Oh my god, I got the quick travel. It's not a real outbreak. Oh, wait, it is.
Oh, we did it! Yes! Yes! It's in the cave! Yes! Oh my god. I can't believe it. After spending more time trying to get to this shiny hunt than most hunts I've already done, it was time to begin. The nice part about all this is that all throughout Kitakami are these caves that are the perfect spot for hunting specific targets, and this outbreak just so happened to be inside one of those cave breaks. The less nice part is that Poliwag is notorious for having one of the most difficult shinies to spot in the entire game. But I knocked out the 60 I needed, and before really starting, made my way back to Unova, completed some BBQs, and ate another hearty lunch. Then I did the classic picnic method to force spawn as many Poliwag as humanly possible, and was able to find my slightly different shaded Poliwag in just 30 minutes.
That one looks different. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a lot different. Let's go!
Climbing this hill took longer than finding the shiny, but I promptly named him Chief Toad and quickly evolved him. Obviously into Politoad, an absolute banger of a shiny.
How is Politoad the frog Pokemon and not the toad Pokemon?
And with my newfound power of water, Chief Toad made very quick work of Mela and all her stinky fire types. Who would have guessed a fully evolved Pokemon with Rain active and Terra Water would dominate? Just like that, we were already back on the grind for not only finding our next shiny, but figuring out what to hunt. The decision this time around was a tad bit easier. There just so happened to be an outbreak of Dunsparse, and as someone who has tried for many hours to get the 3 segment to Dunsparse, maybe doing the hunt on the Switch 2 was all it ever really took to be graced by one of Pokemon's most magnificent creatures.
Holy guacamole!
Yippee! You will be a 3 segment.
I can feel it.
Come on, Destiny.
Let's go!
Nope.
To the Shadow Realm with thee.
Maybe I need to hire an Etsy witch to find one. Before taking on the next gym badge, I made my way to the spooky town to grab a Duskstone for our old friend Itachi. Then went straight back to take on Lawrence. For the first time, taking on a badge without the shiny I just caught. But honestly, who would even want that thing on their team? For the most part, I just let Ellie do her thing during this gym fight, which resulted in a W, and a freshly evolved Steve.
Big Steve. I named it Steve because Coparaja looks like a block. That's the Lord.
Nimona then wanted to catch these hands, which is exactly what the doctor ordered for our little Gary to become a proper snail.
You're doing it, Gary. You're doing it. You did it, Gary.
Which means for the first time, we finally have a real team of Pokemon. 6 fully evolved, sparkly, shiny guys. So let's ruin it by catching another one. Perhaps another Dunsparce since I just had an Etsy witch cast a spell for me? Nah. Since the next badge I wanted to take on was the poison one, I figured I'd be best getting myself some psychic powers in the form of a Pokemon and not an online witch. Now, if you know me and have seen my videos before, you might know there's a little psychic fella I am quite fond of. But it was nighttime, and that fella would be a bit too high level for me at this moment in time. So I settled on a hunt in the desert that honestly I was pretty worried about. Another full odds hunt. Only having encounter power 1 and the hunt being for Flittle, which literally has the word little in it, I was ready to be strapped in for some more pain. And of course, that's obviously not how it went down.
Are you choking me? I have been here for literally 5 seconds. A minute and a half. Why are full odd hunts so easy?
What is going? I have no words.
I feel like Ultra Ball kind of goes. Maybe I'm coping, making things up just so that the catch is easy. Like that. Doug the Flittle. Hasty.
Oh!
I'm nailing these natures left and right. I'm different.
Flittle was named Doug because when I evolved it into a Spothra a few minutes after catching it, it made me think of the Limu Emu. You know, Limu, Emu, and Doug, except Doug is my emu. Okay, anyways, it was time to take on Atticus. And let's just say, Doug with Terra boosted Luminia Crash is pretty powerful. Also, my recording crashed, so you're just gonna have to trust me that I got this badge. At this point, my criteria for shiny hunts was mostly focused on the coolness of the shiny. But around this time, I decided I also wanted to try and catch a shiny of every type just for some extra fun. One type that I put exactly 0 focus on is Bug. Now that I've accumulated enough badges, I finally have access to some better sandwich recipes, such as the monstrosity that is the Ultra Potato Salad Sandwich, which I made on no table. Let me just check.
That feels right. Hopefully, that worked. Let's see. Let's see it. Oh, it looks delicious. These games may run a lot better on the Switch too, but they still have plenty of things on them that probably shouldn't be happening. My friend is actually playing through Scarlet and Violet for the first time ever with a Switch 2 and encountered this feature where he accidentally clipped into a lighthouse. I do still think that this is the best way to experience Gen 9. So if you happen to be someone who hasn't played through Scarlet and Violet and owns a Switch 2, I do think they're worth playing. Now, I don't think you should have to pay over $500 for it, but if you just so happen to own both things, it's worth considering. But with ZA right around the corner, maybe after that. Anyways, I decided to hunt for a Scyther, but everywhere I seemed to find the very friendly, non-murderous looking bug, it was way too high leveled. So after a short-lived search, I got myself an outbreak for the stinker. The Scyther at the outbreaks were still in the 50s, but for some reason, just 50 paces west, they weren't. Anywhere on this hill and up towards the top, they weren't overleveled, but further down and near the lake, they were. Odd, but at least I know where I'm going to be setting up camp for the time being. And with the luck I've been having, I don't really think I need the better odds of an outbreak in order to find the shiny quickly. So I set myself up against the cliffside and began doing picnic resets. On the Switch 1, picnic resets were great when you were at an outbreak. But with the amount of Pokemon that just spawn at a time now, you can do them with just wild spawns. Having encounter power too obviously helps, but if you don't care what shiny you find, you don't need it. Now, funny thing about luck, you can't control it. So mine seemed to have run out.
I can't stop because what if the next picnic reset, it shows up? I can't quit doing picnic resets because what if the very next picnic reset is the one? And I won't know if it's the one unless I do the picnic reset. It's the picnic reset paradox. It's really just the shiny hunting paradox, if we're being honest. Paradox, more like paradox Pokemon. Yeah, it's getting late. It's almost 2 a.m. as I hunt for Scyther. I feel like I can't complain considering the amount of under-odd shinies I've already found. But standing completely still, just picnic resetting, is definitely not the most engaging use of my time.
Imagine you had to live with hands like that. You didn't have hands, you just had blades. That's gotta suck. Being a Scyther probably sucks.
Aside from making another couple sandwiches, I was parked here for a solid 2 hours before anything of interest happened.
Oh my Lanta.
Hey, remember that thing I just said a minute ago?
That is not the pocket monster I am searching for.
Honestly, not a random shiny I'm upset about finding. It's one of my favorite Pokemon of all time, and has a really nice shiny. And I needed a Sora for my Kyrie anyways. Now, this shiny does fit my criteria for continuing and getting my next badge, but I just really wanted my Scyther. So I stuck around doing the same thing for even longer. Another hour to be exact. After 3 grueling hours of standing still, I figured I needed a change of scenery. Yet, I still refused to move on from the bug. So I got myself an actual outbreak for it, and began the hunt once again. Luck still didn't seem to be on my side though. Scyther had become my biggest op. After spending a few more hours searching, my mind had turned into mashed potatoes, and I really just needed to take a break from looking for the bug. For funsies, I just decided to go see what else was happening around the map. And yeah. The real saving grace here is that I don't have to worry about finding a poison type shiny if I do end up trying to get one of every type. But welcome to the team, Kimchi. After finding 2 full odd shinies, it seemed like the game wanted me to move on with the quest. Although I didn't have the target I wanted, it was time to take on the next Titan. But before doing that, Sora got a quick redesign to Jumpluff, and then helped me take on the very large treadmill. I thought bro was Terra Grass, so imagine my surprise when he had balloons coming out of his head. No, Jumpluff. Gary took care of business with Phase 1, and Ellie punched the stupid elephant to death on Phase 2, granting us our newest upgrade, gliding. And obviously, gliding makes finding flying types easier. Obviously. So I went straight back to the Scyther outbreak because I just couldn't get enough of that majestic creature. And after a solid 30 minutes, I finally found my prized possession. Oh, it happened! Yes! Yes! We're free. Where'd it go? Oh my god, it's in the water. What are you doing? Get over here. Oh, you disappeared. Let's go! 1, 2, 3. Let's go. For tormenting me for so long, the only name I could think to give this guy was Stink. The next badge I was planning on getting was from the Psychic Gym. She's even purtier on the Switch too. Stink will help us out tremendously there, but I figured I'd get one more friend to make our chances of success even better. Another one of my favorite little guys with a shiny I truly don't think gets the respect it deserves, and I needed to respect that not all of these hunts were going to be cakewalks. I made that mistake with Scyther, so it was time to prepare myself. Just like I prepared this tasty new sandwich that grants us Encounter Power Dark. See what I did there? With it, I began my search, which quickly had me feeling discouraged. An hour went by, and I really didn't want this hunt to go on as long as the last one. I made the executive decision to get an outbreak much sooner, and it paid off almost immediately. That was easy. I spent so much time checking out breaks, doing BBQs, and the shiny Sandile shows up in, hold on. I pressed every possible wrong button. Oh my god. 3 minutes. That's all I wanted to check. Let's go. Free. Welcome, Blind Bandit. With our two newest shinies, the Psychic Gym didn't stand a chance. I evolved them to their final forms and got down to business. It pains me to do my girl Tulip like this, but in classic fashion, she absolutely bodied my newest shiny as soon as I sent it out. So maybe she got what was coming. Yippee, our next gym badge. After Tulip, I already knew the next badge I wanted to go for was the Ghost badge. Continuing with the trend of hunting shinies that will give me an advantage in my next battle, I wanted to get myself a Ghost. Now, I do already have a Ghost with my goat Bramblin, but he's already in a perfect state of being, and I didn't want to ruin that. Figuring out what I did want to hunt actually took a bit of time, but I settled on something that I thought would be really cool. A Pokemon I'm willing to bet that no one has used in their Generation 9 playthrough. If we head back over to Kitakami, there's this little pond that houses white striped Basculin, a variant of fish that dies and becomes a ghost. This is an awful idea, but I think I'm gonna go for Basculegion. I think I'm gonna kill myself doing this hunt. Oh my god, this is a terrible idea. I'm doing it. What's really cool about this Ghost though, is that depending on if it's a male or a female, it has a different shiny. I found my fair share of these things in PLA and have only ever gotten the Piss Fish variant, so I'd really like to get the other if possible. What's not really cool about it is that there's only ever like 3 that spawn at a time, and with the Switch 2 causing despawns to be more stubborn, you really need to get yourself an outbreak if you want to survive this hunt. Another issue lies in the fact that this Basculin outbreak is one of the rarest outbreaks in the entire game. I honestly don't even remember how long it took me to find this thing. I blocked it from my memory. Unfortunately, that's only half the battle. These fish have a drastically small change when it comes to their shiny. Anytime the light reflects off their scales in a slightly different way, you'll think you found one. I did devise a pretty decent strategy. I checked all the Basculin out, then jumped out of the pond and set up a picnic to get more spawns more reliably. But that didn't stop Basculin from really making me work for it, taking over 3 hours before finally finding something. You look different. Am I on drugs? Is it the lighting? Please. Yes! Yes! I'm free. Oh, yes. Tragically, this shiny Basculin was female, and female Basculin become Pissfish. My purple dead fish still eludes me. With Jeff by my side, we can move on. Is what I would say if I was a dumb idiot. I still had over 20 minutes of sparkling power. There was still a chance to get my purple fish, assuming finding one doesn't take another 3 hours. Well, funny thing about that, because not even 2 minutes later... Ooh, is that another? Is that another? Let's go! It's a male! Oh my god, we found the real Jeff. The real Jeff. Now I just needed to evolve Jeff in order to claim my prize. And the way to do that is pretty unique, requiring around 300 points of recoil damage to be taken without fainting and then leveling up. Something I didn't mention about all these fish was that they were pretty high level. And because of that, Jeff didn't like listening to me. My name is Jeff. Jeff doesn't listen to me. So, evolving him, something that probably should have taken 5 or 10 minutes, turned into a 30-minute ordeal, but it was well worth it. What's really funny though is that after going through all this trouble, I went on to take on the next gym, and Jeff was barely any help. I spent all this time hunting this specific Pokemon for the type advantage, just to not even get the benefits. But after beating Rhyme, that would no longer be an issue. After all the fun of the last shiny hunt, I guess I was still in the mood for some Kitakami shinies. They really just brought back so many Pokemon with amazing shinies in this DLC. This next one wouldn't be as much of a headache too, because its shiny couldn't be more noticeable. This time I wasn't playing any games either. I was getting real tired of all my hunts not taking 5 minutes like they did in the first half of my quest. So I immediately got an Outbreak and some Sparkling Power to make my life less stressful. It's funny though, because if you were looking for a shiny as obvious as Jangmo, how could it really be stressful? It's gotta be impossible to miss.
Everybody. Ooh, did you with your pink little heart on your head?
Before taking on the next gym, I needed to get my newest team member, Flake, nice and strong. And I figured the best way to get that done would be to go to the Blueberry Academy, since all the Pokemon there are much higher leveled and would give me lots of XP. It also didn't hurt to do some more BBQs for when I inevitably needed more Academy special lunches. Doing this, I so happened to stumble upon another shiny Porygon 2.
What the? Why did this happen again?
Which I named When. Because when did I ask for this? Continuing my journey throughout the dome.
Are you? What are we doing?
Why? As I was saying, I eventually found enough candies to evolve Flake. Then it was time for my next battle. This time, Grusha. Now, you may be wondering how our newest Pokemon is gonna help with the Ice Gym since it's weak to said type. Well,
Oh, Flake.
luckily, Ice type is like the worst type in the game, and every other member of my team has coverage to get the win. Completing this fight granted us our final gym badge, meaning we were getting pretty close to being done with the game here. I celebrated the occasion by attempting to find myself a shiny Floette, which was honestly the worst decision I've made during this entire journey. It's not even that the shiny is too similar to the original, it's just that the Pokemon itself is way too small and hurts my eyes. I made the executive decision to stop looking after wasting a solid 4 hours looking for it and finding a random shiny Golduck.
Oh lord.
I had much bigger aspirations than finding small guy on flower, such as finding small guy inside apple. Applin did me a solid by only taking about 45 minutes to shine.
Hey, yo.
I also just like Applin much more than Floette. I did still want to find a fairy type though, so I made myself a fairy encounter sandwich with some extra pizzazz and went to the outskirts of Medali. There's a decent amount of fairy types that spawn here, like Dedenne and Jigglypuff, but the one I was hoping to find was the loaf of bread Fido. This is another perfect spot to just run in and out of the boundaries of the town too. So if luck wanted to gear shift into my favor, this could be a quick hunt. There was one thing that seemed to be a bad omen though.
What is that? Oh, it's a person. What the what is happening? Where are you the bag? What?
No, person, stop.
Wait, what? How? Where'd it go? It's gone. And just like that, it's gone. What just happened?
Oh my gosh! A floating shopping list!
I know it's a bag, but I really wanted to use that SpongeBob clip. And I know I've said it quite a few times already, but even being on the Switch 2, this game still has some odd quirks. Fajin. What was really interesting though, was that just like the Pokemon in the area, every time I went into and back out of the town, the floating bag would come back, and it would climb this hill and then vanish. I hope there aren't any ghost types around these parts.
Okay. That's a full odds Murkrow. Hello. I spent so long looking for you before.
Another phase on a random full odd shiny. Is my luck just that good or cursed? Personally, I'd say it was pretty good, considering I was able to find another full odd shiny just 30 minutes later.
Is that a shiny Dashbun? Oh, snap.
And this time it was exactly what I was looking for. Not only was this Dashbun special because it was a shiny that I named Croissant, but it was also marked. Marked with a personality
Oh my
mark.
gosh. It's a personality mark? This is such a rare shiny.
A 1% chance of happening, meaning Croissant here.
So that's like a 1 in 400,000 shiny. Holy moly, croissant.
There was just one last order of business that I needed to take care of before finally moving on to our next badge. What should I turn my green apple into? When given the choice between 3 amazing evolutions, which do you take? Well, Flapple was always my favorite, and I already used Diplin when I first played through the Teal Mask. Plus, like I said earlier, I've been enjoying the silly little guy brand of Pokemon more and more lately, So the answer became increasingly obvious. My only issue was that I wasn't sure if it was the sweet or tart apple that was required to get my sweet apple pie boy. So I went to the tag tree thicket just to grab both in case I needed them. And another random full odd shiny because of course.
What the hell? What the helly? I'm just looking for a freaking apple. Why is there a full odds? What is going on? Why am I finding shinies left, right, and center now? Yo, why is this shiny kind of gas? 1, 2, 3.
Also, I already had the apples I needed to evolve my Applin, so I really just came into this forest to get ambushed by Zaboomafoo. Even though I found like 5 shinies between badges, the only 2 that were making the cut and coming along on the quest were Wormy and Croissant. But there's just one final detour I need to make. These 2 are way underleveled, and what better way to get those levels up than going to some more outbreaks? And I think you already know where this is headed.
Yay. Pain.
But finally, after so many different shinies found, whether they were on purpose or not, I had made my way down to the final Titan Pokemon. Wormy took care of Don Bozo with a few super effective energy balls, both phases, and Croissant made light work of the big piece of sushi. Just kidding, it died. It's almost like I strategically chose these Pokemon for a reason. Before taking on the last 2 badges of our quest, I made my long-awaited return to Kieran and Carmine's grandparents' house. Because I started the DLC so early on into our adventures, my fight against these 2 is a little bit unfair. Carmine really gave it her best shot though, and that's pretty admirable. Believe it or not, I didn't come here just to bully these 2. I came here because I wanted to try out everyone's favorite thing they introduced in Generation 9, Ogre Ousting. Ogre Ousting is like the one multiplayer activity that they actually put into this game, and genuinely it's pretty fun. What wasn't fun about it was just how laggy and sluggish it felt when it first released. Fitting for Scarlet and Violet. But just like everything with the Switch 2 upgrade, it's so much smoother. If you saw my original Teal Mask video, you'd know I gave it my best try when it came to completing the 3 difficulties of Ogre Ousting all on my own. But with the lag, it was literally impossible. So I did the exact same thing in this playthrough. Easy and medium, absolute cakewalks. Hard difficulty though? Damn. Hard difficulty got hands. I feel like I got pretty damn close to getting it done. And on the Switch 2, I do think it's possible. Maybe. If you get some good RNG. But I spend more than enough time in these games begging for RNG to roll in my favor. So I brought in a big gun to help me take on Ogre Ousting. My mod, Scotty. And with the power of friendship, Ogre Ousting was slain. I feel like on the original Switch, you kind of needed 4 people to get this done. On the Switch 2, just 2 little guys. In honor of my mod's help, the shiny Munchlax you get as a reward was named Scotty. And surely I went and did the next badge after this detour. Surely I went to the next Team Star member. Surely I went to a Swalot outbreak. Okay, but hear me out. Swalot turns blue. And it couldn't hurt to have a poison type for the upcoming fairy badge. We don't talk about that coughing. And in absolutely classic fashion, we weren't looking for a full odd shiny. So hypothetically, we should find it pretty easily. Of course, that's not what happened though. And instead,
Oh my gosh. Okay. You are most certainly not the pocket monster I was looking for.
now a smart person would just move on with their lives. But what you're seeming to forget is that Swalot turns blue, and I think that's pretty cool. I know shiny hunting is all luck based, but it really does feel like outbreaks don't work most of the time. I spent a solid few hours looking for my blue blob, and that streak just continued. But hey, I did find another shiny pseudo.
Oh, you got to be joking. I can't keep doing this.
Which also caused Scotty to evolve. Kinda shows you how long I've been doing this Swalot hunt. Eventually though, as stubborn as I may be, I know when it's time to throw in the towel. Sometimes the shiny hunt just isn't meant to be. So with my tail between my legs, I reluctantly went to the next badge, where we had quite the cakewalk. Who would have guessed that the scissor I had so much trouble getting so long ago would demolish this base by swords dancing and using steel moves. With that, we are truly getting towards the end of our quest. And there's one shiny that I've wanted since the beginning. One shiny I knew that I was going to find from the start. One I even briefly attempted to find earlier. That being the greatest evolution of them all. Little did I know, this hunt was going to be one of the most grueling of the entire playthrough. I don't know why, but it seems like every time I hunt for an Espeon, it never goes well. Just like with Bramblin.
Why do the Pokemon I love hate me? Part of that comes from the fact that it can only be hunted during the daytime. So if it ever becomes too late, they stop spawning. And it really just kills the momentum of it all. So I'm not sure if that specifically was the reason, or just the fact that I've been playing so much of this game since the Switch 2's launch. But around this time, I kind of just lost all motivation to keep playing. I started this adventure on the launch day of the Switch 2, June 6th, 2025. I started my Espeon hunt June 29th. I didn't find it until July 12th. And I did it by eventually caving and getting an outbreak for it. And unlike our last outbreak, the shiny actually showed up.
Let's go, we're free!
I sunk quite a few hours into this hunt, to put it lightly. But honestly, every time I see the glorious shiny that is Espeon, it's always worth it.
Holy guacamole! My favorite little guy. Yes! Dusk Ball. Come on, baby. Let's go.
And with my final team finally assembled, I went straight to take on Eri. I led with Guacamole and immediately terrestrialized. And the shiny I spent so long looking for, specifically for this moment, died instantly. I'd like someone to go back in this video and count how many times I found a shiny specifically for a badge, brought it in, and it died almost immediately. It happened so much. The rest of my team pulled through though. It was a struggle, and it was pretty touch and go, having basically everyone die, but we made it. The 18th badge of our quest. Now, there was just a bit more to take care of. First was Arven, who I battled with the exact same team. Guacamole, Stink, Jeff, Croissant, Blind Bandit, and Ellie. This is the A team, and they made quick work of Arven's feeble team. But I thought it would be fun to switch up the team and use one that best fit the fights ahead. We made so many memories with so many shinies this playthrough, I felt bad leaving them in the box. For the Clavel and Penny fight, I brought a few Pokemon out of retirement and used some new faces too. For the Elite Four and Champion, I used a mix and match bunch from the previous two squads. And for the final descent into Area Zero and taking on the Professor, the Dream Team. With that, the final chapter of this quest comes to an end. It was quite the journey with some highs and some lows, in and out of the game for me, but it's one I would do all over again. Thank you again to Fabletics for sponsoring the video, and thank you so much for watching. I'm sorry that I've been away for a while, but life and burnout kind of all happened at the same time. I'm really happy to be back though, and excited for the future. So I'll see you all in our next adventure, Pokemon Legends ZA.